Coming up next, our App of the Week, in which we show you how to use the app and review its accessibility. You can submit your recording for this segment. Email it to us at contactus@blindandroidusers.com.
And now we move on to the App of the Week, and it's Fee with a demonstration of Merlin Bird ID.
Hello everyone, this is a slightly different app demo in that I'm recording it in the garden, and the reason will become very obvious in a moment. And I suffer for my art because it's a bit chilly today. It's not sunny, but you know. The reason I'm in the garden is I need to record some birdsong. I am going to set up and show you how to use a birdsong ID app called Merlin, recommended to me by my uncle and my aunt. So I've installed it, but I haven't used it on this phone yet, so I'm gonna open it.
Merlin Bird ID help, accessibility volume set to 92%. By tapping submit, you agree that the Cornell Lab of Ornithology can use your email address to send you updates about birds, birding, and opportunities to help bird conservation. You can unsubscribe at any time. We will never sell or give your email address to others.
I've actually already done that, so...
Our privacy policy. ID help. 10,000 plus species. Please enter your email address to use this free app. Enter your email address. Sign in using your Google account. Submit button.
I'll sign in using my Google account.
Sign in use. Choose an account. Add account. Fail on it and see. Ticked. Add account. Cancel. But add account. Ticked. Fail on it and see. Add account. Cancel. OK. Button.
Okay, I've picked my account. I didn't want it to read out the whole address, so I'll
cancel button. OK button.
Press OK.
Merlin Bird ID. Sign in using a different Google account. Submit button. Sign in using a different Google. Fail on it and sings. Add sign submit button. Merlin Bird ID. Thank you. Please check your email. You have 5 days left to confirm the address below by email.
Okay.
We sent the email to James. Skip this for now button.
I'm going to skip this for now, but you will get that. I have subscribed to their email already, and I can confirm that I've had 2 or 3 emails from them, but it's not like they bombard you. And if you care about birds, it's probably quite interesting to get their emails anyway, but it's not annoying to me. And, you know, it is a free app, so I just kind of thought, oh well, why not? So I'm gonna
skip this for now.
Skip it for now. I'll check the email later.
Allow Merlin Bird ID to access this device's location. Selected. Precise. Radio button. 1 of 2. In list. 2 items.
Or...
Not selected. Approximate. Radio button. 2 of 2.
I'm gonna go with precise.
While using the app. Button. Out of list. Only this time. Button. While using the app. Button.
While using the app, because the reason that's important is that if you're in a different part of the country, there might be different birds.
Merlin Bird ID. Choose bird pack.
You have to choose a bird pack now, so let's see what the choice is.
Install at least 1 bird pack to start using Merlin. Packs includes photos and sounds for the birds in the selected region. Merlin can suggest a pack based on your location. View suggested pack button. Browse all packs. View suggested pack button.
I'm going to view the suggested one.
Europe, Britain and Ireland. Navigate up button. Europe. In partnership with the British Trust for Ornithology, we are excited to offer this pack containing the diversity of birds found across Britain and Ireland. Includes photo ID, identification text, images, and sounds for all species covered. Text written by Steve N. G. Howell, Jesse E. Barry and Luke Seitz. Audio and images from the Macaulay Library at the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. 375 birds. 633 megabytes.
When it pauses, I'm swiping to the right to the next bit of information.
In partnership with Unlabeled button. Install.
I'm going to hit where it says install.
Allow Merlin Bird ID to send you notifications. Allow button.
I'm going to allow that.
Allow Merlin Bird ID to allow button. Merlin Bird ID. Europe, Britain and Ireland. Europe, Britain and Ireland. 1H 59 meters 3S left. Merlin Bird ID is running. Tap for more information or to stop the app. Once download is completed, you'll have access to all the included images, audio and text. You can explore Merlin while the download is in progress or wait until the pack installation is complete. Wait here, button. Continue, button.
I'm going to continue.
Merlin Bird ID, open, button. ID help. 10,000 plus species. Start bird ID.
So it says start bird ID and then it says
Unlabeled, button.
unlabeled button. I'm not sure what that is.
Get photo ID. Unlabeled, button. Sound ID.
Sound ID.
Unlabeled, button. Explore birds.
So you can explore birds, you can look at different birds and hear their calls, and I guess look at pictures of them. If you're blind, that's not much help, but the sounds, it'll play bird sounds to you. The only trouble is, now that I want to identify a bird, they seem to have stopped singing. So I'll just give it a moment and see if they start again. Oh, there's a parakeet, but that might not be near enough.
Unlabeled, but sound ID.
First try, I'm going to press sound ID. Well, there's another parakeet. Maybe they'll come nearer.
Sound ID. Get as close to the bird as you can. Hold still and press record. Unlabeled, button. My sound recordings.
So you can play back the recordings you've already got as well.
Supported birds. My sound unlabeled, button.
Okay, this is an unlabeled button. I think that's the record button. That's unfortunate, because on the iPhone version it says microphone, which is a little bit more informative. But anyway, let's try recording and see if we get some birds.
Sound ID. Merlin can help you learn bird sounds. Merlin uses thousands of recordings to learn the vocalizations of each bird species. Watch as suggestions appear and note the pitch and pattern of each bird. Continue. Page 2 of 3.
It doesn't do this little bit every time. This is just because it's the first time. Ooh. And now we're not.
Some birds sound very similar and can trick Merlin and birders. The best way to learn sounds is to see the bird that is vocalizing.
Well, yeah, that's all very well if you can see, but, you know.
Continue. Page 3 of 3. You decide if Merlin's suggestions are a good match for your bird. Make sure to compare your bird with Merlin's example sounds and species details. Let's go.
I'm going to press the let's
Sound
go.
ID. Sound ID. Listening for birds. Unlabeled. Button. Permission request on top. Sound ID on bottom. Allow Merlin Bird ID to record audio. Allow Merlin Bird ID to record audio.
So you have to allow it to record the first time.
While using the app. Button. Only this time. While using the app.
While using
button.
the app. So there we go. Allow that.
List. Listening for birds. Unlabeled. Button. 071. Unlabeled. List. Listening for unlabeled. 011. Unlabeled. Button.
So I think that unlabeled button is pause. Or stop. So that could be a bit more helpful. And of course I'm talking and that's not the birds. So that's not very good. I'm just going to go down and see if it's heard any birds. I'd be surprised if it has, because I've just been yammering on.
031. The 26th of April, 51.503, minus 0.274. Unlabeled, button. List. Listening for birds. Unlabeled, button.
See, it hasn't heard any birds. I'm going to stop that.
Unlabeled, button. 050. Unlabeled, 050.
Yeah, it's stopped recording now.
Unlabeled, button. Merlin has no matches.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Merlin results are best when you're in a quiet place, close to the bird, and standing still. Learn more. Start new recording.
So when I next hear a bird, I'm going to
Learn. Start new recording.
hit start new recording and try recording it. Oh, here's one maybe.
Unlabeled, but list. Listening for birds. Unlabeled. Best matches. Common firecrest X. In list. Rose-ringed parakeet. Bird detected. Tap here to stop recording and explore your results. Out of list.
Okay, so I'm going to tap here. Well, they were very quiet, but maybe it's picked up something.
Unlabeled. Button. 1013. Unlabeled. Button. 1044.
Oh wait, it's still recording. Stop.
Unlabeled. Unlabeled. Button. Unlabeled. Button. Best matches. Rose-ringed parakeet. In list.
I'm going to tap on that to show you what you can do with the results.
Bird packs. Open. Button. Out of list. Showing bird packs. Search. Button. Packs with rose-ringed parakeet. Cancel. Australia. All. Includes all the species in the regional packs for Australia. 634 megabytes. Return. Birds of Cameroon. Caribbean. Central Africa. Europe. Europe, Britain and Ireland. Downloading. Birds of Ireland, Britain, and associated islands. 633 megabytes.
Oh, it's still downloading that, so...
Europe, Iberian Peninsula. Bhutan, Australia.
Okay, normally, once you've got a bird pack, what will happen is it will show you information about the bird. It will let you play its call. Sound of its call. So,
back button, out of list, window navigation bar.
So yeah, because it's still downloading, because I'm in the garden, that's why it's a bit slow.
Sound ID, rose-ringed parakeet, in list, common firecrest X. Start new recording, out of list, explore nearby birds. Report no matches. The bird you're hearing might not be in our database yet. Your response will help improve Merlin's accuracy.
So if I wanted to report...
report no matches.
No
The bird
matches.
common firecrest X, in list.
I could send the recording to, I suppose, to the Merlin Bird ID developers. I'm not entirely sure how you do that, but because so far it's been pretty accurate, so I haven't felt the need to do that. But I guess if you heard a new bird, you might do that. But you know, and it didn't recognise it, or you thought, no, this isn't right. That seems to be a lawnmower bird in the background, or possibly a strimmer.
Back button. Showing items 1 to 2 of 2.
Another thing you can do with this app...
Recents button.
Oops.
Home recents. Merlin Google Assistant Advanced 3 Advanced options. Close all. Advanced Merlin Bird. Sound ID. Unlabeled button. My sound search button. My sound recordings. Search 2 recordings. Sort. 2023 04 26 16 51 108 Greater London, England. GB the 26th of April, 4:52 p.m. Rose-ringed parakeet, common firecrest, in list. Europe, Britain and Ireland, waiting to install. Europe, Britain and Ireland, installing. This may take a few moments. Merlin, Europe, Britain and Ireland installed.
Oh, it's installed it now. So if I go back into that last recording...
Unlabeled button, out of 20 Greater London, 3 full stop 20. Unlabeled 202 unlabeled button. Dig deeper to compare sounds. Learn more about this bird and add to your life list. Window pop-up window. Unlabeled button. Window sound ID.
If I press that button, what happens?
Unlabeled button. My sound recordings.
Not a lot.
Search button. 2 recordings. Sort. 2023 04 26 16 51 108 Greater London, England. GB the 26th of April, 4:52 p.m. Rose-ringed parakeet, common firecrest, in list. 2023 04 26 16 49 050 51.503 minus 0.274 the 26th of April, 4:50 p.m.
I'm going to see if I can delete that.
Unlabeled button. 51. Edit button. Delete button.
There we go. Yep, we can delete that one.
Delete. Are you sure you want to delete 2023 04 26 16 49? Cancel. Delete.
Because there were no birds. That's the thing about recording birds to ID them. Sometimes you start recording and they stop singing. It's almost like they know.
Back home. Back button. Cancel. Delete. Sound ID, unlabeled, button. My sound recording, search, one recording.
So now I've only got one recording, which is what I wanted.
Sort. 2023 04
I'm going to
266.
open that.
Unlabeled. 202. Greater London. Edit, button. Delete, button. 0 hours. 0 hours. Slider. 108.
Okay, so there's a slider
0 hours. 003. 007.
that I can slide up and down.
0 hours. Slider.
I don't know if I can slide up and down it while it's playing, or if it's just when you're playing it back.
108. Unlabeled, button. Unlabeled, button. Unlabeled, button.
If I press this unlabeled button, what happens?
Share. 20. Nearby share, button.
So that's got share. It'll let me share with various people.
Button. Sound ID. Unlabeled. Button. 108. 0 1 unlabeled. Button.
If I press the next unlabeled button, what happens?
Unlabeled. Button. Best matches. Listening for birds.
Ah, it plays back. The second button plays back my recording from before.
Rose ringed parakeet. Best matches. Out of list.
Doesn't turn up very loud, but it is playing the recording. But there's not much in it, so you can't hear much.
Unlabeled. Best matches. Common Firecrest X in list.
But that's
Rose
me.
ringed parakeet.
That's
Word
my
detected. Tap here to stop recording and explore your results. Out of list.
vocal.
So I'm going to tap here.
That's me, and that's me talking
Well,
to
they
you.
were very quiet, but maybe it's picked
Oh,
up
and I was still
something.
recording and didn't
Unlabeled.
realise.
Button. 101. 3. Unlabeled. Button.
So you can play
104,
back
4.
Oh wait, it's
The
still
birds.
recording.
So if you identified a bird, and then later on you forgot what did it sound like, you can play it back.
Rose ringed parakeet. Unlabeled. Button. Common Firecrest. Unlabeled. Button.
So there's a button
Common
next to each
unlabeled.
bird, so I'm
Button.
going to press the button next to rose-ringed parakeet.
Unlabeled. Button. Showing items 1 to 9 of 9. Calls. Unlabeled. Button. Calls. Unlabeled.
So it
calls.
says
unlabeled.
calls.
Calls.
And then there's a button, so if I press that, it'll probably play me the call. You're not really supposed to do this in the garden because it confuses the birds, so I'll try not to play it for too long, but I will just demonstrate that it works.
Unlabeled. Button.
And that isn't on the app, that was a real parakeet. Right, now let's play this. This is going to confuse the parakeets that are here.
Home. High Q. 1 notification. In pager.
Oh, and I stopped it, and it crashed.
Home. Recents. Merlin Bird ID. Search. 2 items active. Search. But 2 items at Envision. Telegram. Merlin Bird ID. Merlin. 9 of. Sound ID. Unlabeled. Button. In list. Calls.
So there's
Unlabeled.
various
Calls. Unlabeled. Calls. Unlabeled.
calls that I could play back, and I won't do that again because it will confuse the birds.
Flock calls. Unlabeled.
Oh,
Button.
flock calls, okay, that's another one. And really, it's better to play those indoors. It's not very kind to birds to play bird calls outdoors.
This is my bird. Details. This is my bird. Unlabeled. Button.
What does that button do? Is that the This Is My Bird button?
Start new recording. Unlabeled. Button.
Or is this
In
the
list.
Start New Record? These unlabeled buttons are a bit annoying, but I still kind of like this app.
Unlabeled. Button. 2023. Greater London. 3. Edit. Button. Delete. Button. 108. 108. 108. Unlabeled. Unlabeled. Best matches. Rose ringed parakeet. Unlabeled. Common Firecrest. Unlabeled. Start new recording. Out of list. Explore nearby. But start new recording.
Okay, now that we've actually got some birds shouting, I'm going to start a new recording. So of course they'll stop now.
List. Listening for birds.
Oh, it's listening now. think we're only going to get this parakeet again.
Unlabeled. Best matches. Rose ringed parakeet. In list. Unlabeled. 040. 1. Unlabeled. Unlabeled. But. Unlabeled. But. Best matches. Rose ringed parakeet. Unlabeled. But. Calls. Unlabeled. Button.
So now that I've got the bird pack installed, it's showing the different calls with a button that you can press for each one. But there are some other quite cool features, so I'm going to go back.
Back button. Showing items 1 to 2. Recents button. 2023. 2 sort. Out of 2 record search button. My sound recordings. Unlabeled button. My sound unlabeled
I'm
button.
going to press that unlabeled button.
Merlin Bird ID. ID help. 10,000 plus species. Start Bird ID. Unlabeled button. Get photo ID. Unlabeled button. Sound ID. Unlabeled. Explore birds. ID help. 10,000 plus. Start Bird ID.
If I hit Start Bird ID,
1 of 5. Home button. Recent. Greater London, England. Select from map. Out of list. Current location. Search by city or zip. Edit box.
oh, okay, so that button was to search if I wanted to change the location or something. I don't, so
Back button.
I'll go back.
Unlabeled button. Start Bird ID. Unlabeled button.
I'll hit the unlabeled button.
Get photo ID. Use unlabeled button. Download 26 megabytes. Unlabeled button. Use Merlin to identify bird photos. Unlabeled download. Get photo ID. Use Merlin to
No,
identify. Back
I
button.
can't take
Window
photos
navigation
of
bar.
birds, so I'm not going to bother with that.
Merlin Bird. Get unlabeled. Sound ID. Unlabeled. Explore birds. Unlabeled. Sound ID. Sound ID. Get as close to the bird as you can. Hold still and press record. Unlabeled button. My sound recordings. Supported birds. Sound ID. Get as close to the bird as you can. Hold still. Unlabeled button. My sound recordings.
I'm going to hit my sound recordings.
Sound ID. Unlabeled button. My sound recordings. Search. 2 recordings. Sort. 2023. 20. Unlabeled button. Import.
And then, this is what I wanted to show you. There's an import button. So if I press that,
Recent. Show routes button. Vic 20,200,000. OneDrive. OneDrive. Recent files.
so I might have recorded a bird on my phone that I was going to send a recording to somebody else or whatever. And then I might think, actually though, what was that bird? And then I could import the file. So let's see if I've got any bird recordings that I can find quickly.
List view. Vic 20,220,902.
That's a video.
Preview the file vid. Show routes button. Recent files. List view. Recent search. More options button. Vic 20 million. Preview the file vid 20.
Okay, I don't want to open that video, so
Show routes.
Show
button.
routes.
Out of list.
see what that does.
Menu. Open from. Recent. In list. Videos. Audio.
Audio.
Audio. Show. Unknown. Row 230. Column 1. Showing items 457 to 482 and 485.
Right, so gone through all these artists and I've got to unknown. I'm going to open that.
Unknown. Show room. Voice recorder. Row 9. WhatsApp audio. Voice recorder. Column 1.
Oh, so you can even open WhatsApp audio. That might be quite handy, mightn't it? If someone sends you a WhatsApp. I've not tried it, but
Voice recorder. WhatsApp audio. Voice recorder. Voice recorder. Show routes. Voice 002 SD. Preview. Squirrel and Wren the 13th of October. Preview the file. Squirrel
there's
and Wren the
one called
13th of October
Squirrel and Wren.
2021 M4A. 3.97 megabytes. The 13th of October 2021. Column 2.
so I'm going to double tap that and see if it gets imported to this app and if it agrees with me that it's a wren. Obviously a squirrel is not a bird, so it probably won't mention the squirrel. So I'm going to double tap.
Sound ID. Unlabeled. Out of grid. Unlabeled. Button. Squirrel and Wren the 13th of October 2021. The 26th of April. 5:11 p.m.
So that's when I've added it.
Edit. Button. Delete. Button. 0 hours. 0 hours. Slider. Disk 202. Unlabeled. Button. Unlabeled. Button. Best matches. European robin. Enlist.
Oh, it's saying it's a robin.
Unlabeled. Button. Asian brown flycatcher. Rose-ringed parakeet. Unlabeled. Button. Eurasian jay. Unlabeled. Button. Song thrush. Unlabeled. Button. Common myna. Merlin couldn't determine your location, so some matches may be wrong. Out of list.
Yes, I think some of those are wrong. So the best way to do it, I think, is to record in the app, because then it gets your location. I'm going to do one more recording.
Unlabeled. Button.
Because
Merlin couldn't
now...
Explore near. Start new recording.
Because now there is a bird making a sound, and I want to know what that is.
Unlabeled. List. Unlabeled. Button. Unlabeled. Button. Import. Unlabeled. Button. 2022043 search. But my sound record. Unlabeled. Button.
Ah, it's the button before my sound recordings. I think that'll...
My sound recording. Unlabeled. Button.
should record, although now the bird stopped, of course. Bloody typical.
Merlin Bird ID. Sound ID. Unlabeled. Button. Explore birds. Unlabeled. Sound ID. Unlabeled. Button. Please wait. In progress. Progress bar. Explore birds. Open. Button. Explore bird. Search. Refine. Likely in Greater London. 179 birds.
Oh, I've accidentally pressed the wrong button, but let's see what... When this is Explore Birds, let's see what birds it's saying are here.
White-faced whistling duck X. In list.
White-faced whistling
Accessibility
duck?
volume set. Sulphurous whistling. White-faced whistling duck X. Sulphurous whistling duck X. Bar-headed goose X. Emperor goose X. Grey-lag goose. Greater white-fronted goose. Accessibility volume. Pink-footed goose X. Barnacle goose X. Canada goose. Hawaiian goose X. Red-breasted goose. Mute swan. Black swan X. Egyptian goose.
I don't know why it says X.
Ruddy shelduck X. Common shelduck. Mandarin duck. Mahogany X. Cape shoveler X. Northern shoveler.
Some of these have got some great names.
Plattwall. Eurasian widgeon X. Chino widgeon X. Mallard. Northern pintail X. Green-winged teal. Red-crested pochard. Common pochard. Tufted duck. Greater scorb X. Common goldeneye X. Hooded merganser X. A few likely birds by...
So you get the idea. I'm going to go back from that.
Back button. Merlin Bird ID. Unlabeled. Button. Explore birds. Unlabeled. Sound ID. Unlabeled. Sound ID.
Try this once more.
Sound ID. Get as close to the bird as you can. Hold still and press record. Unlabeled. Button. Accessibility volume set to 50%.
Oh, there's a pigeon. That should...
Get as... Unlabeled. Button.
There we go. Let's try recording that.
Unlabeled. Button. Best matches. Common wood pigeon. In list.
And already it says common wood pigeon.
Unlabeled. 013. Unlabeled. Unlabeled. Button. 2023. Unlabeled. Button. Explore nearby bird. Report a bird you're hearing might not be in our database yet. Report. Explore nearby. Start new recording. Details. In list. This is my bird. Unlabeled. Button. Calls. White-necked. Unlabeled. Button. Song. White-necked. Unlabeled. Button. Song. White-necked. Unlabeled. Common wood pigeon. Best matches. Out of list. Unlabeled. Button. Unlabeled. But 016. Unlabeled. Song. Unlabeled. Song. Unlabeled. Common wood. Best match. Unlabeled. 0000 hour. 016.
So it only recorded for 16 seconds, and some of that was me chattering on. And it already knew it was a wood pigeon. I mean, that's quite impressive. And yes, they've got some work to do, I think, on labelling these buttons. I haven't actually contacted them about this. Even with those slight problems, I think this is a really good app. It's very reliable, and hey, it's free. So, you know, and you can just sign in with your Google account and then check your Gmail address. I don't know what happens if you don't sign up within 5 days, whether they stop you using the app. I'd be surprised if they did. But I don't know. Maybe after 5 days it would just say you need to sign in and, you know, make you do it again and send you another email perhaps. I'm not sure. But I hope that's useful and that you enjoyed it.
And I think we'll be promoting this demo on social media afterwards, particularly on Twitter. Lee, can you tell me, did you prepare for that bird demo or did you wing it?
I should have seen that coming, shouldn't I?
You should, yes.
Maybe you need to open your eyes a little bit more.